Welcome back to another episode of Chasing Optimum. I have Aimee Morrisby here. Now, some people may know you, others may not.
Yeah.
You have a very interesting story.
Yeah, I do.
So I'd like to start there.
Yep.
Because I have many questions.
Okay.
And this is a must watch or listen for any woman and man. But you have been through a hell of a ride. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a life.
So can we please go back to you were born with an incurable bowel
Correct. Yeah. Bowel
condition?
disease. Yeah.
Fill us in.
So it's known as Hirschsprung's disease. So when I was born, everything was everything was normal. Normal newborn, birth was fine, but it got to around about probably 3 or 4 days in, and just things were not going to plan.
So what do you mean?
So I wasn't passing my meconium. My meconium was coming out of my mouth. So, and as we know, that's to come out the other end. And this is also 1990, and I was the first baby born in Toowoomba Hospital. So there wasn't a lot going on for me. The best thing to do was to put me straight into an ambulance and take me down to Brisbane, which is where it took 12 days for them to realise and diagnose what was going on with me. It was very similar to, and what most people would be able to relate this to is Crohn's. So it's kind of like Crohn's, but the opposite. There's no cure. The ganglion cells that are located in the large intestine just above the colon were there, but they were dead. They just didn't do their job. They didn't work. So I was diagnosed with Hirschsprung's disease at 12 days old, and all of my large intestines were removed, most of my small intestines and part of my colon. So I was left with 70 centimetres of ileum.
So you were born with your intestines, but they just weren't working.
Yeah, the cells that actually operate everything to move and pass through were basically dead. Just dead cells. They just never developed necessarily in the womb. Yeah, and because it's very, very rare, and what made it even harder to pinpoint was my disease actually normally only affects men or males. So it was even harder to really get that diagnosis. And I actually only found out last year because my surgeon who saved my life is actually still alive. He's 97.
Jeez. And
I still talk to him every year. He's a professor now, and he rang me last year to tell me that I'm still the only child on record to be alive with less than 100 centimetres of ileum.
Wow.
So I was 35 last year, 35 years not knowing that was still me. And what made him ring me was he had an old patient's son born, and he only had 60 centimetres of ileum. The parents didn't know what to do, so they said, well, we know this girl that's still alive, but unfortunately that baby passed away. So
amazing. So was it true? Because I don't take notes during before podcast, but I did with you because I want to remember what questions to ask. Is it true it says hundreds of operations?
Yeah.
When you were a kid?
Yeah, right up until, I would say it's only been 2 years since I have not had a surgery, multiple surgeries in a year. Sometimes I could have up to 5, 6 surgeries depending on what the issue is. But I was going pretty good. Like I was cruising pretty well once I hit my early 20s, but then I faced other problems with my reproductive organs because all of the scar tissue that is created by previous surgeries, scar tissue actually is like weeds and it starts to grow onto other organs. And that's what happened to me. All of the scar tissue from literally so many surgeries over the years, especially my pelvic area, grew, just kept growing.
We're going to talk about that in depth. Yeah. But when you were a kid at school and things, how did you manage all of this with the surgeries and just being a kid? And
I would say that it's evident now as an adult that I understand personalities and energy and all of the other things that go with it. But I think I was just such a determined soul, like so determined. Honestly, I'm like a cat with 100 lives. And it was almost like every time I was knocked down, I just wanted to get back up. Like I couldn't wait to get back up and just almost prove everyone wrong. And every time I was told no, I saw that as a challenge, and I love a challenge.
Did you feel different as a kid?
I did, but I was also raised by a mother who was so devoted to me, and the way she spoke to me, there was times in my life where I actually didn't see myself as different. I knew physiologically I was different and biologically I was different, but I never saw myself as different to my friends, or because I still just had that inner drive. I still wanted to do sport and couldn't wait to work. Even when I was a child, I was talking about working, and so it's actually really difficult to explain, because I have been in situations where my husband has had to sleep at the hospital because they just don't know what's going to happen through the night.
Yeah, wow. So would you say your mum was like this instrument of like a lighthouse almost? Like,
yeah.
It sounds like she was an amazing person.
Yeah. I would be in the shopping centre. So when at that 12 days old mark, they removed all my bowels, or what was not working and what didn't serve my body, and actually pulled through a stoma. So I have a permanent colostomy bag, which I've had since 12 days old. I used to have 2, but the other one used to make me quite sick. So they removed that. I would go up to people as a toddler in the shops and lift up my shirt and show them my badge of honour. Like, I was so proud of it because my mum was so proud of it. And honestly, my mum embedded in me that that's my lifeline. So really it was just a part of me.
Wow.
Yeah.
How amazing.
Yeah.
So going through school, you had a colostomy bag and just you just saw it as a badge of honour.
Literally, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I definitely went through moments, you know, when I entered puberty, and I grew up on the coast, so we lived at the beach, there was always, you know.
What'd you do?
Well, I just literally, I would adapt. Like, you know, instead of wearing the 2-piece, I wore the full piece, and, you know, I always have extra supplies with me. It's like when you have a baby and you learn to know what's in the nappy bag, know what you need. That's like my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know life if I didn't have it.
So with the colostomy bag, can you take it off and go swimming, or do you have to swim with it?
So it stays on.
It stays on.
Because the organ is on the outside of my body.
Right.
So I need something to protect it at all costs, at all times. Yeah.
I wasn't sure how they work.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah, very.
And so you got older, and then how did you eat and things? Was eating an issue? And
so here's the kicker, and this is the real underlying cause as to how I'm now doing what I'm doing. And obviously growing up in the medical industry, and especially with my mum was 19 when she had me. My mum hadn't even learnt how to feed herself, let alone have a child that's challenged. Or what ended up happening was the medical industry I was kind of like almost trial and error. So I actually would never even really know until it was in my body, and sometimes it wouldn't be very pleasant.
What do you mean?
So because I'm obviously compromised, I have no large intestines. That's where our nutrients are absorbed. And I have no colon. That's where our hydration is absorbed. So when you're missing these vital organs, it's kind of like what goes in my mouth comes out of my body very quickly. So nothing's in my body long enough to absorb the job, to absorb the nutrients. So I wouldn't know how my body was going to react until it was inside. And I never had access to nutritionists. I'm sure there was dietitians in the hospital and things like that. I was also in and out of the public system too. So there was only so much on offer. It was always trial and error. So I did get to a point in my life where, you know, I knew not to eat, you know, stone fruit or things with nuts and seeds and all of this kind of stuff. It was really just trial and error. But also now what I know is I was on medication my entire life, which puts the bowels to sleep. So now as an adult, I understand what happens when our bowels, you know, don't operate at the capacity that they're supposed to, and then let's go and chuck a whole bunch of food in there. I'm not on medication anymore.
I'm not?
No.
Amazing.
No. And that's part of my story as well, is I had to literally at 32 years old stop everything so I could actually go and learn and teach myself, because no one was ever able to teach me. Still to this day, my husband had diverticulitis a couple of years ago. They removed a little bit of bowel, and I said straight to the surgeon, who's very, very prominent in his industry. I said, what should Jake be eating in terms of, is there food we should be careful of? And he said, no.
Back to normal.
Back to normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're limited in the medical industry.
Nutrition-wise, for sure.
Nutrition-wise, absolutely. Yeah. Every day of the week.
So what would happen if you eat something that's like, I mean, trial and error? There must have been a lot of trial, a lot of error. So what would happen? I would experience it's almost like the body, you know, when the body goes into like a contraction, if you're experiencing like, stomach pains, you feel like that constriction, that's what would happen. It was almost like my body would start to cave in and try and get rid of it immediately. But I've only got limited options when it comes to, like, mine's got to come out in a very different way, which is very painful. So if something wasn't accepted, I had to wait. So did you have to eat, like, because it's shorter run, do you have to eat like protein shakes or, I don't know, like more liquid foods, or how does that work?
So I used to be on a lot of liquid food as a child, and a lot of different solutions and medications and all of the things, right? But what I've come to realize is, and what I know now to be scientifically true, is it all starts here. It sounds really bizarre, but it starts with chewing. Yeah. How I'm chewing my food and what I'm actually doing with my food before I swallow. And I know that sounds absolutely wild, but I can tell you right now, the way I digest a banana now, which is a carbohydrate and something that's actually quite difficult to digest, the way my body digests a banana now is very different to how I digested a banana when I was a child. I couldn't eat them, and now I live on them because I'm more mindful and understanding of what saliva and what chewing does to food.
I'm hopeless at chewing. I try. Tommy, my nutritionist, he's always like, chew. He keeps saying it all the time. Chew.
Yeah.
But I find it so, like, he says, resist the urge to swallow and keep chewing. Yeah. And I'm like, I try. It's just, I like guzzling a bit.
That's right. Yeah, my husband. We don't have many disagreements, but we disagree about how he eats. Yeah. Not what he eats, how he eats. Like, honestly, I say chew your food.
Well, tell us about the chewing. Like, what happens?
Well, what happens is that's where the food is broken down, okay? So when for example, like you think about a lemon, what happens? You start to saliva, right? That's good. That's the body getting ready to accept what's coming. That saliva helps break down, and all the enzymes and everything that's about to drop into, obviously, the gut first. The work's done, and now the body can absorb the goodness.
So a lot of the breakdown starts in your mouth, ready for when you digest it. That's correct. Yeah. And so when they say, listening.
So when they say chew your food properly, it's not a joke.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I was thinking I've got to get a teeth reconstruction. Yes. I've got to get all crowns on because I've got no back molars because they got pulled out on drugs and things. But the dentist said, you've been chewing on your front teeth for 20 years. Because and I'm like, the back is so important.
Yeah,
for what it's saying. Yeah.
Saliva glands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, that's right. Yeah. And if you ever think, like you think about something that's quite citrusy or acidic and the mouth starts to water, that's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah, we want
You look very healthy.
Yeah, I'm very healthy.
You look super healthy.
So healthy. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very healthy.
So how do you get your nutrients?
So I am definitely, and now as a nutritionist, people must think I just must eat all this glorious, beautiful food all day long. And I absolutely do not. I'm actually quite boring. Yeah. I think the key to good nutrition is being aware of what your body, because it's all bio-individual, and you'll hear that term thrown out of, like, you'll hear that with me all the time because I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all, never have, never will. I had to become so aware of what my body requires and how I need to operate And for me, it's time. It's time. It's not so much about how many nutrients I can get in one day, because at the end of the day, I am a small person and I do have a small gut as well. So I don't go and overfeed my body all day long. I restrict when I rest as well. So I eat in shorter periods of time, and then I go through a long time of rest as well. So the longer my bowels actually rest.
Like fasting.
Yeah. And I call it restricted timing when it comes to eating, right? Because, and it's been scientifically proven, there's many studies around it, and I know that it can be different with women as well, especially with hormones. But it's the time. It's not just, let's stop eating at 6 p.m. and don't eat anything till lunch. That's not the case at all. I work on a 10 and 14, so I eat in a 10-hour window. And I eat the nutrients that serve my body and that my body requires based on measurements.
You eat in a 10-hour window?
Yeah, and then I rest for 14 hours.
Do you do the same 10 hours or do you change it?
Depending on what I've got on. Like if I've got something on at 8 o'clock in the morning, then I will eat dinner early the night before and rest longer. But at the same time, I've also now gotten to a point where I've done the work. And I know you need to continue to do the work, but we also need to live life. If my friends want to go for breakfast, I'm going for breakfast, even though I don't eat breakfast. I'm still going and going to enjoy the moment, because food is to be enjoyed.
And you say you don't eat breakfast, like usually?
Usually,
and then, but you will with your friends?
Yeah, absolutely, because life is about living.
Is there anything you can't eat, like just a no-go? Not by choice, by health?
Things like coconut, things that are really quite processed and hard to break down. Yeah. Love a good steak. Never used to be a big meat eater. I've been vegan, I've been vegetarian, I've been pesca, you name it, I've done it. I kid you not, I have done everything, because that's how determined I was to figure out what works for my body. I just got to chew.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just let it rest.
We'll talk more about nutrition.
Yeah.
Because you are a qualified nutritionist.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. IVF. So the baby journey, which I found very interesting with you. So my wife Tara has been through IVF.
Yeah.
I had no idea about Jackson, my oldest here. He just came by accident. But
love that.
Yeah.
They're the best ones.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a number of other kids. But with Tara and I, we had to do IVF. Yeah. I have to say it was a grueling process to watch, really was. So I'm interested with yours, because you had a hysterectomy at 30 years old.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through the baby journey? And your sister carried your baby? Yeah. So tell us a little. Fortunately,
I met my husband when I was 19, and we fell in love and got married by 22. And it was 3 months after the wedding. I had awful pains, ended up at the hospital, and that's where it all started. So I was 22 years old. Babies weren't even on the radar. I just wanted to live my life, right? And in that moment, they'd realised that all the scar tissue had in fact climbed onto my reproductive organs, constricting blood flow to my ovaries, pretty much anywhere, right? And it would explain why I had non-existent cycles. Sometimes I'd go 6-7 months without a cycle. No one was ever able to tell me why. It was pretty obvious now that I look back, but no one was, no one's able to just see what's going on inside either. So I just lived with it and went on with it. When I had that awful pain, it was actually an ovulation, and it just coincidentally, it just constricted and the blood supply cut off to my ovary, and that's what put me in hospital with the terrible pain. And after a number of days of tests, they said, look, you've actually a really low egg count. Like your everything that you've been through has really restricted blood flow to your reproductive organs and is actually stopping everything from producing, right? Which made a whole lot of sense at the time. And he just said, if I was you, I would get started. If you're wanting to have a baby, I would probably get started now. So in
when
that
you say
premise,
get started, like on IVF or just trying?
Yeah, just like even just the thought process of, oh my gosh, okay, I was even on the pill then, and I had to come off the pill and then had to go through that process and the withdrawals and all of that kind of stuff. And then I was sick within months. It was so bizarre that it was like once that one thing happened, it kind of just, it all started. So we just went straight in, had IVF, and I got so sick every single time. My body rejected the hormones. Anything that was synthetic going in, my body just wanted to spit it back out. So every time we did 8 cycles, we ended up just going head first, straight in.
So when you said you did 8 cycles, like 8 times it didn't, or 7 times it didn't work.
Yeah, I got pregnant a total of 4 or 5 times. I can't even remember now, but I would get pregnant and then we would get to around that 6-7 week mark and I'd lose the baby. And that happened over a period of we did a lot of that too. 22 to about 25 years old, we just went back to back because every time I had a cycle, my health declined. Then I'd have a cycle. I'd have to be admitted every time. I would have eggs extracted as well because the inflammation in my body would just go into overdrive and I'd end up with infections every time because scar tissue actually has no blood flow. So when scar tissue tears, not only is it excruciating, but it causes a lot of travel in there.
Did you ever want to give up?
As weird as this sounds, I never really had the sadness. The people around me were sadder for me than what I was experiencing because I've dealt with compromise my entire life. So every time I got a positive pregnancy test, I was surprised. Not like as in,
it was like one step closer.
Baby. I was like, oh, it worked.
Yeah.
Something actually worked. My body knows actually what it's doing, kind of. But anyway, there was a point. There was a point where we actually got to 10 weeks and we thought, oh my gosh, this is it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Jake was at work one morning. I got up out of bed and I was nearly 12 weeks at this point. And anyway, ambulance came and got me. And yeah, the baby had miscarried because I've got so much scar tissue. They weren't able to go in and do a DNC. So I had to go through a round of methotrexate, which is chemotherapy, to remove the baby the long way.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had to stay in hospital and have injections in my back every day for that to go in and actually, because what chemotherapy does is it will go in and it'll attack what's not meant to be in the body and remove it. And that's what I had to do.
So how old were you when this happened?
25.
25. Yeah, wow.
25. And
it's very young, to go through. I mean, we've been through a lot anyway, but.
Yeah. And in that moment, that's when I found out it was twins and one had miscarried and the other one had not.
Gee.
So not only did I have to miscarry one, I had to abort the other because you can't just remove one. So they both had to go. And it was in that moment I said, that's enough. Yeah.
What round was that?
8.
Oh, that was 8.
Yeah, that was the last one.
So what happened there?
We were living in a town called Toowoomba at the time. That's where my husband grew up. And once that happened, we packed up. Said, let's get out of here. I want to go back to the beach. Let's just get out of here. And you just want to run away too. You kind of just want to forget it. So we did. We packed up. We put tenants in the house, moved away. We were there for 6 months, and then my sister rang me one night, and she was on maternity leave with her second child. She said, look, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm either going to study or I'm going to have another year off maternity leave. And while I do that, I'd like to offer to have a baby for you. We had 2 embryos left. So we did. It took us a little while. Normally you would think, oh, we'll just jump at the opportunity. This is incredible. But psychologically we'd kind of not settled it, but it was so that last one was so traumatizing that we kind of just were like, it rocked us a bit. So we thought on it and then obviously went ahead with it. First cycle worked, but we lost that baby.
So can I ask, look, I'm a bit ignorant, but how does this happen? So Jake gives like an IVF thing. So you put your sperm in, your egg, and then you put it in your sister.
Yeah, so we already had the embryos frozen.
They were already taken.
Yeah. So okay. I had 2 embryos left. Yeah, done.
Sorry, I asked Tara 1,000 times about the IVF process because I keep forgetting the sequence.
Yeah, ask away.
So your sister goes in and she does they inject it in?
Yeah. Yep. And then so we did that. The first round was successful, but we lost at 6 weeks. And then anyway, the best thing about this situation is she doesn't have to go through egg collection or anything like that.
I was going to say, how does that work? Because isn't there a cycle or process with the woman?
Yeah, so she just lets the body, you know, because it's early on, the body kind of just does its thing and then starts fresh, just like you normally would if you were trying for a baby naturally.
Yeah.
And then she starts hormones on day 1 of her cycle. And then what that does is then after the uterus has shed, it starts thickening. So this time, normally when a woman would ovulate, that's a message that gets sent to the brain, start thickening because we're going to release an egg and we're going to get pregnant. So every time a woman's body has a period, it's getting prepared for pregnancy. So, and that's the natural part of life. So what we want to do is we want to stop her from ovulating. We don't want her to release an egg, right? Because we want to get the uterus nice and thick so that we can pop the baby or the embryo in, and that part is already done. That's what we did with my last embryo.
So the last one took.
Yeah.
And that's your daughter.
It's our daughter.
10 years old.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Francesca.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So, you know, with your sister doing it for you, I mean, a great thing. I mean, you do it for your family, I'd imagine. But how was it for her?
Do you know, that was the number one question all the time was, how's your sister? And growing up, we were polar opposites. I couldn't wait to work and be rich. She couldn't wait to be a mum. Honestly, it's all she ever wanted, the most maternal one out of all of us.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's what she did. She left school and went and had babies. Yeah, and she is still now, to this day, the best mum you'll ever meet in your life.
Is there an attachment thing that goes on there, carrying a baby? And because obviously you go through the whole process of growing it, even though it's yours.
Yeah.
Like, was she weird?
You know, I tell this story all the time because it's actually the most direct way to explain it. She was pushing her son on the swing one day in a public park, 6 months pregnant, big, 6 months pregnant. And someone said, oh, you know, what did they say? Having any more or something like that. It was a question like that. And she said, oh, no, I'm done. Like she just was so disconnected from the fact that she was pregnant.
Wow.
That, you know, it was almost like.
It was like a job.
Like, yeah, pretty much. But I think what helps too is knowing it's her niece.
Yeah.
That's a big difference there is. It's still very special to her. So, and we all have those connections to our nieces and nephews. I mean, I do with my niece and nephew. Yeah. I love them just as much as my daughter, but in a different way. Yeah. So I think, and I'm speaking for her on this and just listening to what she's explained over the years, but that's how I see it. She was proud to be carrying her niece and she knew very well what was happening. This life has been created because of her, you know, giving up her life.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I think you naturally have that disassociation. But she did have, like, it was funny, the amount of people that would just ask her questions and she would answer as though she wasn't even pregnant because she had just so naturally disconnected.
And so, I don't know if it's an ignorant question or not, but it's like, did she have a C-section or naturally?
Natural.
And then they just take the baby and then what happens?
So
how do you, is it allowed, by the way?
So would you believe my gynecologist, so my fertility specialist in Brisbane that we kept doing all these cycles with, right? It was actually him. When I had that last traumatic experience, he said, you're going to have to find a new doctor because I'm not doing this to you anymore unless you've got a sister. That's what he said to me. He had already done surrogacy in another country. Yeah, so he'd already kind of put the footprint in our country. It was very new at the time. This was very, very new. It was very hard to find lawyers. The legal system, it's actually very this is why we only did it once, not because of the birth or the pregnancy or anything. That was the easy part. The legalities involved are absolutely wild, and it makes me sad because it'd be the reason why a lot of people can't do it. We had to go through basically an adoption process. So we had to have hours and hours and hours of counselling prior before even being approved to start. Even my sister's husband had to go through counselling sessions and answer questions that you just wouldn't even fathom. You'd have to answer questions that some people should be asked before they're pregnant. It's just, it's crazy, the legalities involved. So what happened was once, obviously all was approved and we went ahead, we had to have our own lawyer, and we had to appoint a lawyer to represent my sister and her husband as well. So once the legalities are out of the way and you're pregnant and you're smooth sailing, it's good. It's like any other pregnancy.
Well, I could imagine it could create problems if your sister got emotionally attached or, or changed her thought pattern halfway through.
Yeah, that's right. In Australia, the intended parents are very protected. So my husband and I are basically the intended parents. And when that baby is born, on the birth certificate is the birth mother.
Is it? Yeah, wow.
So the birth mother is on the birth certificate. Once you've done 6 months of parenting, the first 6 months of the baby's life, and that you've proven that you're a capable parent and you've done more counselling and your midwives have visited and they've given the thumbs up and all the things, you can then apply to court. And then you have to go through a full court case.
Really?
At the big courts.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a full thing.
What, for the transfer of title almost?
Yeah, pretty much.
So what happens with, how do you hand the baby over? Where does that happen?
So it's hard to say because obviously we go home with the baby after the baby's born.
Oh, you just take the baby?
We go. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and look.
What about breastfeeding and stuff?
So because I couldn't lactate, we just went straight to, I did a lot of research around formulas and things like that, and we went straight onto a formula.
Yeah.
And then Shayna just expressed, so Shayna is my sister's name, Shayna just expressed what she could, and that was it. But because it was quite interesting, she was a great breastfeeder with both her children, but because I think she was so disconnected, milk dried up pretty quickly.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's look, biologically, it is fascinating. Something I could talk about for days, just watching what actually happened. But yeah, we went home with our baby 6 hours old. And
was there any weirdness with Shayna later, like for her going through the whole thing, then not having the baby with her? Was there any weirdness?
No, I think because she went home to a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah, right.
So she was back to business,
Well,
Yeah. But we're obviously very close as well. So, she's seen, and just like we would have even if she didn't carry, she was always the one. She's doing this, she's doing that. Like she's the one I'm calling.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So it was a beautiful relationship. Yeah.
And then you went through menopause early.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yep. My health never kind of bounced back after all of that. It just never bounced back. And I was in real estate, working 7 days a week, flogging myself, as you know, and absolutely no awareness of what actually was happening internally. And then 2 days after my 30th birthday, my bowel surgeon and my obstetrician, my gynecologist, both just went, we've got to you're getting really sick, getting really, really sick. Things were just deteriorating. Scar tissue was growing. So, 3 days after I turned 30, I was straight in and I had a full hysterectomy. Because the scar tissue had intertwined what was left of my colon, part of my small bowel and my uterus, it kind of all glued together like a big ball.
Sure.
So I had to have 3 different surgeons do my surgery to remove the rest of my colon had to go with it, part of my bowel had to go with it, and all of my cervix, uterus, everything. So what this meant for me is I didn't have a gentle ease into menopause. I was in immediate menopause.
Actually, Ash has a question.
Yes.
Yes. And then something about perimenopause.
Yes.
She said, because she's wondering about herself and you experience early menopause, something most women aren't prepared for. What are the early signs of perimenopause that women should be aware of? Yeah,
for me, it is especially things like brain fog, fatigue. The way you start to react, I'm always talking about reaction because I don't hear it spoken about enough. Because women, obviously, in their feminine energy, is extremely exhausting to be in your masculine energy. And that was one thing I noticed, was all of a sudden the way I was reacting was quite different. I just didn't have that softness anymore. I was becoming quite not aggressive, but just that I reacted very differently, and I had less tolerance for anything. Like,
I might be going through menopause.
Don't get me started on my husband. Speaking of chewing, don't even get me started. Like, honestly, you start to react. Things that you used to be able to hold space for become less. Become less. And I guess, too, if you're a parent as well, it's quite a similar thing, but it kind of just doesn't go away. So, yeah, and just the way your body, you know, hot flushes are no joke. That's an actual thing, and it is so uncomfortable. The way our body starts to regulate in temperature, heat becomes internal. It becomes internal. So those hot flashes that women speak of, it's not like, oh, it's hot in here. It's, I need to get every bit of clothing off my body right now because I'm boiling inside. That's a hot flush.
I had a client not long ago, or a little while ago now, she was going, her name was Sue, and she's like, Matt, I'm so hot. And she was going through menopause, and she was sweating, and you couldn't cool her down. We're just in like a room like this.
Yeah.
So, did you notice those things? Like, because you said you sort of half were just working. I had
every symptom.
But did you notice, or were you, like you said you were just working and just oblivious?
Yeah. So well, I don't know if I was in perimenopause prior to my hysterectomy. Probably not. Maybe I was in my late 20s, obviously. But to be honest with you, perimenopause, the symptoms start showing, you know, they start climbing in from 30 and onwards. Usually around 35, they become a lot more prominent.
And then what happened after your hysterectomy?
That's probably the sickest I've ever been in my life. There was a time in my life, and I'll go back a bit because there's this one moment in my life that I speak of, especially when I'm doing speaking gigs and things like this. I always start off with this moment. I was 9 years old, and it's the only time in my life that I have actually ever prayed to God, not religious, but prayed to God, do not let me wake up tomorrow if I'm still this person. 9 years old, I had that thought. I didn't remember it until I was in my 30s going through this. And it took me back so visually that I remember the room I was in, the house I was in. I remember where my bed was in the room, and I remember looking out at night time because I used to always look at the stars saying, I don't want this body anymore. I don't want my bag anymore. I don't want to be different anymore. I don't want to be the sick kid anymore. Don't let me wake up if I'm going to be the same. And I was convinced that God had the power to change me. When I woke up from that hysterectomy, I had that same thought because the pain was so bad. I was obviously in the surgical ward, and Jake was on the ward, and he could hear me screaming.
Is he a doctor?
No.
When you say on the ward?
He was on, like, waiting for me down on the ward.
Oh, right.
And when they were bringing me down, he said, I could hear you screaming.
Oh, wow.
The pain was unbelievable. But at the time, I didn't know that what that surgery did was it actually started an immediate infection in my body. Because they had to tear scar tissue away from other organs, it just released infection throughout my body. So not only was I going through the physical pain of the removal of the hysterectomy, I was riddled with infection. And then on top of that, I had every single menopausal symptom you could possibly imagine immediately. So it was just a wreck, and I just didn't want to be here anymore at all. Like, I remember saying to my husband, I had a clicker with morphine or fentanyl in it. I remember saying to my husband, click it, keep clicking it. I don't want to be here. And like, that is an awful place to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can understand that too.
Yeah.
And then after the hysterectomy, how did that? Because I've heard with some women have a hysterectomy, and like Ash's sister, for instance, had one, and she felt amazing.
Yeah.
When it was all.
Yeah.
How was yours?
So I can say now life is great. Life is peachy, right?
It's good.
But I wouldn't have been strong enough to handle this if they had to do this for me in my early 20s or my teens or anything. I wouldn't have been strong enough. Honestly, I think just being a mum and having that different frame of mind, the resilience, the better understanding of your body and everything, it took a lot of strength. But that first year of my hysterectomy, I had 5 or 6 surgeries because the infections just wouldn't go away. They couldn't keep the infections at bay. That was also 2020.
Gee, with COVID time.
Yeah. So I was in hospital for a year pretty much by myself because no one could
1 year?
really in and out.
Oh, yeah.
In and out,
Yeah.
in and out. And I would be rushed from Toowoomba to Brisbane. They just could never control the infections. It just kept coming back.
How are you managing being a mum and all of this?
An amazing husband.
Mm.
Yeah, an incredible husband. That's how.
Amazing.
Yeah. And just you make it work.
Yeah,
You make it work. And she's a great kid.
Is she?
Yeah. Well, I've been sick her whole life. And, there would be times I'd have to change dressings through the night and stuff like that. And she'd get up and have everything ready for me. And, she's an amazing kid.
With your bowel thing, was it genetic? Can it be genetic, or did you have any of those thoughts?
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on genetics are very different now to what they were growing up. But it can be passed down usually by the male gene. My dad was born with bowel issues, but not to this extent. He had a corrective surgery and was fine and has lived life pretty normally. But that's about all I've been told is it's from Dad's side.
So what do you do now? Health things?
Yeah.
I've got 3 more questions from Ash. So she's like, you must ask these. But so tell us, what are you doing now?
So just before I had late 20s, so my husband and I have always had a construction company. We started that when we were 19 and spent our 20s building and flipping houses and loving life. And then it got to a point where I said, I'm sick of paying real estate agents. Yeah. I'm just going to go and do my real estate license. Turns out I really like it. Turns out I'm really good at it. Ended up doing it for 6 years and just got caught in the hustle, got caught in the grind. I'm obviously a very competitive woman and I was in a very male-dominated industry and I loved that challenge. Yeah. Especially with, and I was in a more commercial style real estate agency too. I worked for an amazing guy, Dominic Ryan in Toowoomba. He's the owner of, one of the franchise owners of Colliers. And I just loved it. I loved the hustle and I loved that it distracted me from my reality. Yeah. And that's what it was. It was a distraction. Yeah. So I got caught in it, had to have my hysterectomy within, 12 months, bad 12 months of health and in and out of hospital. I just went straight back. She'll be right. She'll be right. Straight back. I've got a good kid. She loves daycare. She'll be right. And it was interesting because something biologically shifted in me in that year. I had to become I was a different person. I became a different person because I had to spend a lot of time with myself in silence, in rooms where there was no distractions, no room, no work.
And it's very grey in hospitals,
no occupation.
Isn't it?
It's depressing.
Very depressing, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, depressing. That's where depression is born, honestly. Yeah. And I had to do a lot of thinking and I got sick and tired of no one being able to help me with how I should feed my body and fuel my body. So I get very obsessive, especially when it becomes like with research and things like that. I just started researching, heard the word gut microbiome, thought that sounds interesting. I'm not doing anything. I'll do some research. And then anyway, back into real estate, couldn't handle it. My patience for people was different. The way I reacted was different. I didn't have the tolerance that I used to have. Plus I was exhausted. My daughter was at daycare at 6 a.m. I was picking her up at 6 p.m. It was wild. Yeah. And the phone's never off. I was constantly exhausted, physically, emotionally, mentally. There's a term in sports nutrition called REDS, which is called relative energy deficiency in sport. But it is 100% relatable to performance in real estate or any fast-paced, high-paced profession, right? Yes. And that's what I was doing. My output was not matching my input, and I just could never find anyone to help me with that because my body is obviously very different to everyone else's. But at the same time, our output should be matching our input. Yes. No matter who you are, no matter how many bowels you've got, everyone should be really, really nourishing if they want to keep performing. The thing is people view success and health as separate, but they are one entity.
Aren't they?
They are one entity and you cannot have one without the other. And I found out the hard way. I walked into the room. My husband didn't even know we were a team. I said to my very amazing boss, Dom, I said, I'm done. I'm done. I had one listing.
You worked with your husband?
Yep, because we loved it so much. Yep, we had our construction side and then we had our real estate side. We loved being a team together and we were very good at it. He's more logistical. I talk, and it just worked. And he was next to me and I just said, I'm done. I don't know. I just woke up one day and I'd forgotten book week at school. My daughter was the only one at school in a costume, not in a costume. And that was it.
So what did you do then?
I enrolled myself to university in nutrition, and it was wild. I just, we had to make a lot of financial sacrifice as well. We went from 2 incomes to 1, and plus we had a construction business in the middle of COVID. That was interesting. So it was just, so I was still working within the business, but I said to my husband, I'm going on a retreat. I left for 4 days. I went somewhere in Noosa where I didn't know anybody. And that's when a lot of my childhood memories came back as well, because the phones had to go away. There was no noise, there was no distractions, no nothing, and we had to learn breath work. Some real hardcore stuff. And it was very confronting. I didn't even know the term breath work. Meditation, kind of toyed around with that here and there. When I came back from that retreat, I went off all medication cold turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to say, how did your body respond?
No, it did. Oh, it was not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I spiraled very, very quickly. I was also on an antidepressant because my GP was convinced that I was depressed, not going through menopause.
Can I ask a question on that? So if your gut is compromised and 80% plus of our serotonin comes from there, what happens with you?
I'm a wreck. I'm just in fight or flight. I'm honestly always up here. Always up here. I never learnt to be here. I was always up.
So does your gut still produce as much serotonin? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I would say it does, but I think it's only because of how I am. But when I still don't have an answer for anyone who says to me, how did I survive going late, working late? I just don't know. 5 coffees a day, maybe? Yeah, 5 coffees a day, convenient food, my determination to win. It was my drive. Yeah.
So tell us about nutrition now.
Yes.
And is it specific, not just women's nutrition, but I'm sure there's a lot of women listening to this saying, how do they feel better? How does, like, hormones, menopause, all of, like, tell us.
Yes. Well, going back to that REDS exactly is what I mean. Like, yes, it's very relevant in the sports world, but in my opinion, anyone who works a fast-paced job like this or high performers, they are athletes, and it is just as much relevant to them as it is a person in sports. The way that the pace that they are operating at, one must need fuel. And I'm not talking about 6 meals a day.
No.
I'm talking about diversity.
Yes.
I'm talking about what's on the plate.
Before we get into this, explain gut health.
So gut health, everything, to me, it is the second brain, right? If you are working in a state of chronic exhaustion, it is because there is an imbalance in our gut. This is where everything lives. Our good bacteria, our bad bacteria. Literally, this is where we are operating from. And if it is compromised, how on earth are we to operate through life?
For sure.
That's gut health. And gut health is not about getting up and eating 3 eggs and your fermented food and all this kind of stuff. It is an integration. So one thing I'm really passionate about is our microbiome. So we actually can share, okay? So they say, be mindful with who you surround yourself with, not just because of energy, external energy, but because of internal energy as well.
Yeah.
You become who you spend your most time with, right? Yeah, that's not just in terms of energy. That's in terms of what we're eating, what we're consuming, what we're talking about, everything. So it's an integration of everything. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is because who do we spend most of our time with?
Family.
Yeah, and colleagues.
And colleagues,
yeah. And how does one come together with people? It's usually around food.
Yeah.
So it's really important. It's an integration of literally everything. gut health isn't just about, going on that 21-day gut reset and fasting and all this kind of stuff. To me, gut health is an integration of everything in life. Yep, hydration, nutrition, external environment, everything.
Are women's needs different than men's?
Yes, depending on what part of life they're in as well. Obviously, we have hormones, so they can very much dictate with how we operate through life. And did you know it is extremely exhausting for a woman to be living in a masculine energy? Exhausting. It is a job in itself.
Bet.
And let's add some, real estate, masculine-based energy environments, add that in as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So nutrition, you tell us, what's your view on it? What do women need to do, men need to do? What's your...
So I think, and it's really hard with social media now.
Yeah.
Because there's so much contradicting information out there.
So much.
But I think the most powerful thing anyone can do is become aware of themselves. Instead of consuming all of these things that we've got to do and not do, how about we just stop and take a moment and actually listen? So when I'm working with someone personally, one-on-one, I'm not just asking for a food diary. I'm asking, are they drinking alcohol? Are they, how often are they eating? Are they eating at midnight? Are they eating at 6 o'clock in the morning? I want to know when you're eating as well as what you're eating, and whether you're adding anything else in there as well, like alcohol. Because at the end of the day, I feel like we can also overdo it. Let's understand our body first before we go and add a supplement as well. So
sure.
That's the other thing is we're just adding all of these supplements, but we don't actually know what the body actually requires.
Yeah.
And my body's different to your body. It's all about bio-individuality. And sometimes for me, it's about stripping back and then working your way back in.
So if a woman's cycle is off all over the place, what would you do?
I would definitely be looking at what she's eating for sure, and also drinking as well. How's her hydration? Also, is she exercising? It's literally an integration of everything. What's her home life like? What are her stress levels like? What's her sleep like? It would literally be like an audit. Everything comes down, because sometimes it can just be that one thing.
So is the off cycle, some women might go 28 days, but then the next one might be 50 days. Is that an indicator, or is it?
So to me, if your cycle is missing, something is not right.
Okay.
Yeah, something is not being detected. And look, going on a medical standpoint as well, if you've had children or you've got a history of, say, endometriosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, well, then that's a completely different situation. There could be seriously something living in the body that we're just not aware of. But your starting point is obviously going to be what you can control straight away. Yeah, things that you can be doing before you go and see, the surgeon or the medical field. Yeah. There's a lot of things that we can be doing every single day, and I'm all about elimination. The other thing too is women can be really intuitive. We know if something is, we know we're doing something that we shouldn't be, that does not serve us.
For sure.
The benefit of being a woman is that we actually can be very aware. The only thing is because we are so externally required all of the time, children, colleagues, the whole thing, we then actually lose that space to become aware of our actual bodies and what it's trying to tell us. But if we actually take time for ourselves, it's no different to being on a plane. Before you put the oxygen mask on the child, you put the oxygen mask on yourself.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
The world can simply not run if mum's not well.
100%. So with your eating window, 10 and 4, what's the 4?
So 10 and 14.
Oh, 10 and 14. I was like, I thought you said 4. I was like, what's the 4? So 10 and 14. So no eating for 14 hours, and you eat within the 10-hour window.
Yeah. And once again,
it's actually really good.
Oh, exceptionally good. I find rest just as important, or if not more important, than the fueling.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually. I'd similar. I do very similar. And then on the way down, I had protein shake because I thought, I'm going to go to another appointment. Yep. You don't feel as good.
No, absolutely.
If you don't eat, like have your usual window, you actually feel worse.
Yeah, and I read a study that you could have, a yogurt bowl full of all of these beautiful berries, high fiber, protein, you've got your antioxidants in a bowl, right? And you're eating it. The way your body absorbs the nutrients compared to that bowl and chucking it in a smoothie is a completely different story.
Explain.
So it's the absorption.
Yeah.
So the chewing.
Oh, the chewing.
The chewing.
So the chewing, the bowl is better than the smoothie?
Yes, so the chewing, the saliva, the digestion, it's now in the body long enough for the body to actually go and retrieve what it needs. And when it's in a smoothie, I mean, it's better than nothing at all. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But, those juices.
Does it just go straight?
Yeah. Well, for me, for example, 20 minutes, game over. So what am I going to get in 20 minutes? Not a lot. Not a lot.
So what are you doing now?
So I now do a lot of this. So I love educating, not just from I've got all these beautiful certificates and whatever. They don't mean much to me. That just covers me for insurance. It's the way I deliver from a lived-in experience, because I think what separates is I actually understand, and I know what it's like to literally be in that bed and be like, I can't go on.
For sure.
I can't do this anymore. I know what it feels like physically. I know what it feels like emotionally. And when I started all of this study, I said to Jake, I don't want to help people lose weight. That's not my desire at all. I want people to heal their relationship with food. But most importantly, I would be back in real estate tomorrow if I could. I love it. I live and breathe real estate. And this whole time I'm sitting here, now I've got all these certifications and I kind of know a lot. How can I get this back into the industry? So now, and I spent a good 6 to 12 months developing a framework that actually I now take into offices, and we literally go through the framework of what sustainable health looks like. Like if you want to be working on based on KPIs, that's amazing. But how can you do that when you're chronically undernourished?
I think most of the real estate industry is.
Yeah. And I would love to get in. Oh, I would love to get in every single one of those offices. And not just that, but if you go into your admin room, what's the gender in that admin room? Who's running? Women. Who's running the ship? Yeah.
I suppose from real estate, like being a mum, like I have a 2-year-old, so I have 7 kids, Jackson being the eldest. So hard, and I'm like, I'm not even there. I'm better today than I was when I was 30. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But so hard.
Yeah.
And they're non-stop. Where do these kids get these 2-year-olds get this energy from?
I know.
Like it's relentless. So as a mum, why I'm saying that, someone in an office, like they sort of in real estate, it's 24 hours a day. But I think even being a mum at home is, as you know, it's like same sort of stress levels is what I mean.
Yeah, the oxygen mask is off.
Yeah, nutrition, everything.
Everything, yeah.
Everything.
And that's the thing. And I work with a lot of mums naturally because I'm around them. And it's obviously something I'm very passionate about, because I feel like women these days especially, they want the best of both worlds. They want to be professional and have work and be required outside of the home. And we have desires to want more and want big things, but we also are then torn. We have this home as well, and we're raising everyone in it. We're running the entire household. So for me, we're so torn, and that is exhausting as itself. But yeah, when you're at home, you're constantly filling up the cups of everyone else. Mum's last.
So how do you coach a mum to, because I mean, I have morning routine, night routine, and, I help with Summer and, we act as a team, Tara and I, but how do you coach a mum to maximise her energy when? Usually
my first question is, what's the communication like between yourself and your partner?
Yeah.
Because that's extremely important. It's not just what mum needs, it's what's going to work for the household.
Yeah.
Because especially if dad's main provider as well and dad's doing big hours at work, I mean, his self-care is just as important as mum's. But it comes down to communication. Is there things that could be doing together? You know, is there help that you can call in as well? Pockets of self-love, you know, pockets of joy. It doesn't have to be a full 2-hour morning routine.
No.
I developed an online platform which is filled with beautiful home-cooked recipes. It's got Pilates, it's got breath work, meditation, it's got everything in it. And sometimes those things, they look like 20 minutes.
Tell us about your online platform.
So I'm very passionate about movement. I fell into, as soon as I finished real estate, I had to go and fix my body. And my friend said, hey, I know a good pelvic floor physio. That physio said, you've got to stop doing HIIT workouts at F45 7 days a week. You need Pilates. So I was basically prescribed Pilates, and not much to my surprise, not only was it extremely difficult, could do 2,500 burpees, but hold a plank, different story. Like, it's just a different kind of connection, right? But it brought me back into my body very quickly because Pilates is very breath focused, right? So I had to learn how to hold myself properly and connect the mind to all of the muscle groups. Once again, because I become obsessive, I thought, I'm going to go and learn this. So I went and did a full Pilates course and then taught Pilates, and I'm still teaching it now because I'm obsessed with it. And what it does, especially for a woman postpartum, like once a woman is pregnant, like everything is compromised. The spine, the abs, everything. And this is our powerhouse. This is where we operate from. So when it becomes disconnected, you know, our posture changes, our back pain, you know, we get back pain, just the way we carry ourselves is different. And I found that it's almost like I got taller. You know, I was holding myself upright properly. I have absolutely no pain anymore. So I was on slow release morphine for years.
Really?
Yes.
How did you think properly?
Because coffee, probably.
Gee.
Yeah, I just was constantly in overdrive, right? But I was on slow release morphine because of the pain from when I had everything removed, right? And then I realized that in Pilates, plus also learning breath work, it became almost like I was getting oxygen to the parts of my body that were screaming. So Pilates did that for me. Then I found that not all women have capacity. Not everyone can afford a membership. It's expensive. Not everyone has time, because dad's usually out the door by 6 a.m. And not all women, especially postpartum or perhaps on a weight loss journey, want to go and lay on a bed in between 12 other people in front of a mirror.
Yeah, it's true.
I just wanted a space that women could roll out the mat for 20 minutes before the world wakes up and just move their body.
So do they need to buy a reformer?
Absolutely not.
No? If they do your thing?
I've got reformer work.
Because Ash is joining today, she said.
Yeah, that's amazing. There's reformer exercises on there, but there's a lot of mat. There's even some bar. I've got a professional ballerina working for me.
Really?
She does beautiful classes. So if you're pregnant, there's something for you. Yeah, there's something for everyone on there.
So that's what you're doing now, your online
That's like my
platform?
Yeah, so it's called Verve Wellness Club, and that's my online space for women to just come to wherever they are in the world.
And you got nutrition, you got access to you,
yes,
is it? Like you coach as well?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So I work one-on-one privately, more of a mentor base. So like I said before, a bit of a different nutrition approach here, very integrated, very holistic, not prescriptive in any shape at all. Yeah.
So do you, I don't know if you just said that, but like, do you join for a period? Like, is that, how long do you?
So with the online platform, it's a subscription. It's all movement. So you have access to movement whenever you want. It's all on demand. So it's like basically a studio that's open all the time. Okay. And you can access that movement whenever you like. There's recipes on there to help you with meal prepping. And
do they have to stay in for a period, or is it just they can get out after 3 months or stay in for 3 years?
Subscription, come as you like. If you want to stay, you can stay. If it's served you, it's served you. But
you have skin treatment. You've got great skin.
No. Actually, I was just about to ask Casey. I brought my collagen before I have my coffee. I'll put my collagen in it.
I've got to make sure I've answered these questions for Ash. She'll kill me if I don't. Speak a little about bone broth.
Yes.
She said you speak, because I'm anti-bone broth.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. And then, but she said you speak a lot about bone broth. Is there a brand you personally recommend? And how does something simple as bone broth work in your opinion?
Yes. So because I have such a large window of not eating, I still want to slowly wake up my bowels, right? So it's gelatin. So it's some form of substance, right? It's very collagen dense, which is amazing. And, I have no Botox. Someone asked me the other day.
I was going to say, do you get Botox?
No, I had Botox in my lips in my 20s. Didn't do that again. Yeah, not too much. But it's collagen heavy. It's got that gelatin, which is substance. Like it's not a meal, but it is something. And I find that, if I was to do that full 14 hours with absolutely nothing at all, I start to get too crampy because things are starting to, it's hunger as well.
That's interesting. So back on that, you'll have bone broth in your 14 hours.
Yes, but only just before if I'm doing a workout.
Okay.
Like if I'm doing like a Pilates class or something like that, I will have a bone broth in maybe 200 mils of hot water. So that's it.
Do you do that religiously or do you just listen to your body? Some days you don't want to, some days you do want to.
I do it religiously.
Religiously.
So I'm going to Fiji on Wednesday, right? I've got my bone broth, I've got my organic coffee, I've got my collagen, and I've got my alkalizing greens because I know I'm not going to be able to get my greens while I'm on holidays.
Fantastic.
It's just what it is. And even like we had a bit of a situation this morning. Casey had to tip out her coffee and I said, well, that's what you get for not having my organic coffee. Yeah.
So you drink caffeine?
I do, yes, but not like I used to. And I'm very particular. So when I was very extreme, but I'm an extreme person. I don't just kind of tiptoe into things. I'm like full cut the cord, right? So when I decided that I was going to stop real estate, stop everything, I went cold turkey on the medication. I literally tipped out my house. Don't even talk to my husband about it. It still gives him nightmares. I tipped out the whole house. The pantry was empty, all my plastic cookware, everything, pots, pans.
And you tipped out, like threw it away?
Yeah, gone.
And
if it wasn't opened, I don't eat it.
Like why?
Because I was I was so determined that all these toxins had to go because of the build-up over the years, right? And now I know that to be true, but I would not have a beautiful woman sitting in front of me and I would not say, go and tip out your house. I would say, remove one item that you're doing every day. You shouldn't. That's what I would do.
Got it.
I was very extreme, right? But I can now educate on this. And anyway, what I started to do is I started to implement things back in, like bone broth, beef liver, all this kind of stuff. And like I said to you before, I've tried all the things. I probably live a more Mediterranean style.
Yeah.
Like it's diversity for me. Honestly, it's about colour.
Yeah.
Colour, fibre, protein, food from the earth. But back to the coffee thing, I will bring the company and I will ask how it's manufactured. I'll ask where it's manufactured. I'll ask if the beans are sprayed.
Because coffee can have a lot of mould in it.
Mould, absolutely, yes, depending on where it's grown.
Yeah, and rice.
Yes.
Rice and coffee, same thing. People don't realise.
No, they don't.
If you don't actually understand it, it can have a lot of mould.
Yep. And same with also a lot of plants.
Yeah.
There's something in everything, and it's same with pesticides as well. You would have to ingest, like I buy organic if I can, right? And I wash all my fruits and vegetables, but I'm also realistic, okay? It would take truckloads of pesticides to even affect you. However, if you can make it work, then why not?
Totally.
Then why not?
Yeah.
That's, once again, back to that bio-individual approach. Everyone's household is different. Everyone's life is different. But yes, I still drink coffee. I don't drink 5 a day anymore. I maybe have 2.
So what's on the last question? What's on the horizon for you?
Yes,
like where are you headed?
Oh my gosh, stages. I just want to get in as in front of as many people as I can. As I said to you, I have no desire to, I work with women one-on-one and some men with their nutrition, but my desire is to get in front of people in larger quantities. I love being around the corporate spaces as well. And I think there is a missing link here. There's actually an agency on the Gold Coast that has a real estate agency that actually has an integrated wellness practitioner as a resident. She is in the office. That's what it should be. I feel like when any corporate office is visiting their budget for the year, there needs to be space for someone in the office where people can come to, because I feel like how are you supposed to have the culture and the team that you desire if everyone is so chronically undernourished but still has no idea where to start.
So true. Happy, healthy people is
100%.
Happy, healthy company.
And at the end of the day, we're all here to make money. How are we going to continue to sustain wealth if we are so tired
Yeah, for
and
sure.
exhausted?
Yeah.
Especially for, as you said before, the women that are also then at the job all day and then they're going home all day. And the men are too, don't get me wrong. But we obviously have different biology. We're handling it differently.
Absolutely. How do people, we're going to put links up, but how do people find you?
So I have my website, which is verbwellnessclub.com.au. But yeah, either there, Instagram, Aimee Morrisby. I'm always in my DMs, always helping people wherever.
You were very quick responding to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think I responded to your story and I was like, hey, I love this. But I followed you for years, like even back when I was with Colliers.
Yeah.
Years and years. And I remember watching your transition too, like when you started really reaching into that health and wellness space. Loved it.
It's the answer to everything.
100%.
And I think a lot of people don't understand. Like they just, but with a bit of direction, it'll change your life.
Absolutely.
You have an incredible story, Aimee.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad that you made the effort to come.
Yeah. I'm glad to be
And the first person I'm going to ring after this podcast is John McGrath.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say to him, he should be talking to you to speak at ARIC.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So,
did you get that? Do you know that's on my goals?
Is it?
When I was a real estate agent, I said to Jake, because I'm just obsessed with being on stage.
Yeah.
I love talking, especially about things that I'm passionate about. And also, too, because I know what it feels like to be unwell. I know what it feels like to feel like crap.
Yeah.
But still want something for yourself, right? That desire.
Yeah.
But now I know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I said to my husband years ago, remember I always talked about wanting to be on stage for ARIC because I was a bloody good real estate agent.
Yeah.
I was very good. And I was very, very good at getting what I wanted too, right? And I said to Jake, isn't it weird? Now I want to be at ARIC, but I want to talk to real estate agents about how they can actually become more wealthy but work less.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, because I believe there's possibility for it.
There is.
No one's working 60 hours anymore. You can't tell me all these billionaires are all doing 60 hours a week, slogging themselves.
You don't need to.
No.
No. You need to be
smarter,
effective.
not harder. Yeah. You need to be healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.